James,
Wait.
are you on? I don't think he's on yet.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because when you called, you just said it was only one other caller on.
Yes, only one.
Yeah, so I think that's just. We can give him about 5 more minutes. If not, we'll have to reschedule.
Okay. Okay, I'm patient. So you're in Washington, or are you in LA? Oh, you're in LA. I love LA. I used to come out there so much in the 90s and 2000s. Stopped for a minute, but I look forward to going back out there. So are you from LA originally?
We're gonna wait on our guest to come on, so let's just give him about a few more minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello, James. Are you on the line? Hello, James. Are you there? Can you hear me? Hi, James. This is Stephen. How are you? Are you on the line? Hi, James. Are you there? Hello, James. Are you there? Can you hear me? James, if you can hear me, just call back and make sure you're punching in the right numbers in the key code. Hello, James. Are you there? Hello, James, are you there?
Yes.
Oh, hi, how are you? This is Stephen Smith. Welcome.
Hey, good evening. How you doing?
We're good. I'm glad you're on the line. Seems we were having some connection issues, but...
You did. I kept getting someone else's number. It was funny. I could have sworn I was dialing the number correctly, and it kept giving me to somebody named Asia Lee, something like that. And then I was on. It was crazy, but I'm here.
Okay. Well, we just want to welcome you to our radio. You know, this is a radio station that we're dedicated to the promotion and literacy and the advancement of authors like yourself and writers from unrepresented groups. My name, again, is Stephen Smith, and I'm just pleased to have you on the show.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
Okay. I'm just going to tell the listeners a little bit about you, and then we're just gonna go with the flow. You know, go with the flow. I do have questions, but I just want to go with the flow because I want people to really get to know you for who you are and what you're doing.
Sounds good. Sounds great.
Okay. Well, everybody, welcome to Obama Radio. Again, my name is Stephen Smith. I'm your host for the evening, and we have with us none other than Mr. James Gordon. Mr. Gordon is better known as GPA, the greatest poet alive.
Amen.
We have Muhammad Ali, which is the greatest man alive, and we now have Mr. Gordon on the line, the greatest poet alive.
That's right.
He's an international award-winning author, a champion, a storyteller, and a rising actor from the south side of Chicago. Woo! Brother, you came through the ranks. You've seen a lot there. So you have a lot to tell the people.
Yes, I do. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm also on Facebook Live with my people. Ladies and gentlemen, we have some connection issues. But, hey, listen, perseverance triumphs over technology any day. I'm live on UVAW with my man Stephen Smith. It's the most electrifying man in poetry, the gangster love, the most dangerous man in storytelling. Man, rising actor, as you've been seeing me, and I'm here live, baby. Woo! Let's get it on.
Yes. Let me keep filling the people in about all the great things about the GPA. Just to tell them a little bit more about you.
Oh, you want me to tell them? Oh, you were going to tell them.
No, I'm going to tell them. I'm sorry. I'm having a little issue over here.
No problem.
Just to let them know you've written several books that span the genres of poetry, children's, young adult, erotica, and mystery and suspense.
Right.
You can be seen on episodes of Empire, Chicago, Fire, PD, Medical Justice, Shameless, and several movies as well as commercials. You can be found at this website. You guys, make sure you check them out. It's iblowyourmind.net, and on Twitter at the greatest poet alive. That's GR, the number 8, EST poet alive. So James, I just have a couple of questions.
Sure.
But at first, if you want to give any more shout-outs like you've already done, just go ahead and give shout-outs to your people and those that are listening.
All right. Shout out on Facebook Live. Shout out to everybody tuning in. Shout out to UBAW for giving these opportunities for authors to come on and share their work and be promoted and such. That's an awesome thing because a lot of us, African-American authors, we don't have a lot of that. So shout out to them for doing this and this opportunity. Shout out to Double P, Phyllis Porche, checking in on Facebook Live. Shout out to Keisha LaShawn. Check her out next year. We're gonna be at the later this year we're gonna be at the Cavalcade together. She's a dope lady. She's great with graphics and everything. You might want to check her out because she's dope at that. But thank y'all for tuning in. I'm here, man. You know what I mean? Shout out to everybody that's been supporting me throughout the year and my different endeavors. I've gone through several reinventions. So people rock with me through all of that. So, man, I'm grateful, real grateful. So thank you to all the support.
Oh, yeah, no problem. We're just blessed to have you online tonight. So, my question to you, first of all, is what deems you to be the greatest poet alive?
Well, the whole thing with the greatest poet alive, it started out 2009 when I first put my book together, the first book, The Confession of the Heart of a Man. I put my name and it put AKA the greatest poet alive, just as, because I'm a wrestling fan, you need a name. I know people have a name or what have you, so to go along with it. So I was like, I'm going to do that. when it came back from the publisher, it just didn't have my name on it. It just had Greatest Poet Alive. And I was going to change it. But my brother said, no, Joe, no, keep that. Keep that just like that. I said, yeah? He said, yeah, but you got to be ready for it. 'Cause you know a lot of people are going to be in their body about it. They're going to be salty and such, but he said, keep the name. And so I kept the name, and then the next year I trademarked the name. For me, for people that know me, I operate at a high level of confidence. I believe in certainty. I don't believe in perhaps or maybe. I use them in a poem, sure, but I don't believe in perhaps or maybes or happenstance or whatever. I believe in certainty. And then if the certainty doesn't occur, then you just need to make an adjustment. It wasn't that time for that or whatever. I don't believe in the ambiguity of having to depend on something else unless it's God. You know, I don't believe in putting anything. So the whole Greatest Poet Alive thing, then I've lived that. I've lived that whole idea that I'm the best in the business. Not better than anybody, because what I do is not about anybody else. Anything I do is not about anybody else but me. So I operate at that level of confidence and giving myself, I want to rephrase that, not only believing in myself, but also operating at a level that puts me in a different league or superlative category. So that's where that comes from. And I've had different monikers, GPA, the Poetic Unsub. I'm currently operating under the Gangster of Love. I've used Pizzle Orgasm, which is another incarnation. So these different things, the Commissioner, these different things all are, you have to reinvent yourself, but they all stem from GPA. GPA was first above everything else. So that's where that comes from, and I believe that. I believe that. When I put my pen to paper, and when my voice comes across on a poem, you best believe that I know that I've done the level best, and I'm the best at doing that particular poem, doing that moment. Sure. Hello?
Yeah, sorry, we're having a little slight issue. As I was saying, as I'm listening to you, I hear your voice. Confidence is key. I hear the confidence in your voice. I don't know if it's based on the things you've been through, the things you've experienced, and what you've dealt with in life, but I hear the confidence in your voice, and like you said, the best at what I do. I am the greatest poet alive, and the name wasn't a coincidence. It was meant for you to have that name because it was coming out of you. So I applaud you on that. So let's get right into it. Let me just ask you a couple of questions. So when did you first leave, or when you first wrote your book? When did you first decide you wanted to become an author?
A friend of mine who is no longer with us, Elwood Pegram, he said to me in 2007, he says, hey, man, you need to put these poems that you write and share with people in a book. You need to get out here and sell your book. People want to hear this type of poetry. And my first book, The Confessional Heart of a Man, was really raw. I liken it to Get Rich or Die Trying by 50 Cent, or It's Dark and Hell is Hot by DMX, because it was just rough. It wasn't, as 10 books later, I'm a different author now. I've learned some stuff and figured out and what have you. The first book was just, I'm going to take these poems, I'm going to convert them to Microsoft Word, because they were written on a typewriter. I'm going to convert them, I'm going to put them in a book, put a cover on it, and here we go. We're going to go out here and sell this book. We're going to go to different poetry events. We're going to go state to state and have them in the car. We're going to push them down people's throats. We're going to push this book. But it was in that time when he said that to me. Before that, I just wanted to write poems. And it's still true. I just want to write poems. But he said, you should be an author. And so I took that with him. And especially once he passed, I knew I owed that to him, and also my dad, who said I should write a book a long time ago, decades ago.
Okay, great. I love the story because you're saying someone else came along and said, hey, you need to do this. See, that's the beautiful thing of you being an author. Someone has seen in you what they know that you have, and they're saying, I see it. You need to do this. And now that you've written this book, and I'm sure you dedicated it to your friend that passed on?
The second book.
The second book? Okay.
I just put poems in family and stuff. But the second book, the Book of 24 Orgasms, I put his name in there. His name is in the dedication because, well, it just was. So, I mean, it just was. And then him, my dad, and then my family was always close. So, yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. And I can hear, even in your voice when you started talking about him, your tone changed. That means this person meant a lot to you because this book wouldn't have happened, if I'm wrong, stop me, if he wouldn't have pushed you because you probably didn't see it within yourself. Now that you have this book out, you're just going to keep going, dedicating it to him. And like you said, God, those are your key things, people that God puts in your path and who needs to be in your life to help you keep going. Trust me, I do know the feeling. So we can move forward. So how did you decide on the idea for your first book? And how many books have you written so far?
The idea for the first book was, I was in a federal camp. I took some money that didn't belong to me, a bunch of money that didn't belong to me, and I was in a federal camp for a few months because it was a white-collar crime. And I was sitting there, and, the thing about being, quote-unquote, locked up is you get some time to yourself that you normally don't have walking around in the world. And so I was writing these poems on this typewriter, and next thing you know, I was just like, man, you know what, I started putting poems down and sharing them with the guys who were around me. Like, man, this is really real stuff. And I wrote it in like a month, from August 27th to September 27th, because I read in a magazine, a literary magazine, you have to set a date. So I set my date as September 29th, and I finished on September 27th. I was typing poems every day, 4 or 5 poems a day, or something like that. And then I just said, hey, this is this, and there's a lot of confession, and there's a lot of dealing with being bullied, dealing with, how it is to be dark-skinned, dealing with, your self-esteem and being a father and all these type of things, and being away from the family and love and rejection. It was just a bunch of stuff. It was a cornucopia of emotions, and I put it all together and just called it The Confessional Heart of a Man, because it's everything from my heart and I'm a man. And it was just, it was therapeutic.
Of course.
It got to release a lot of stuff that I had on my heart and my mind and such. How many books now? That's tough because I just finished. I just brought out the third one of this series yesterday. So let's run it through. Let's run it through real quick aloud, Stephen, so I don't mess up. The Confessional Heart of a Man, The Book of 24 Orgasms, The Mind of a Poetic Unsub, Revenge of the Orgasm, Soaking Wet Edition. Hi, my name is Bobo. The Warmest Winter Poetry Collection. Here Comes Bobo and Scooter. Angelica's Box, The Evolving. And then, Have a Thing for You. Still Have a Thing for You. No Longer Have a Thing for You. And then next week I bring out Always Have a Thing for You. That'll bring me to 15. And the last 4 are like short, I like poetic novellas. They're only like 50 pages, but still, 15. Wow, 15. Wow, that's just
15 books.
Wow.
And how long? And you started writing in what year?
First book came out in 2009.
2009. 15 books later in 2017.
Wow.
Your passion, I always say this, your pain produced your purpose. The passion is in what you've been through. And you're putting a lot down. And I noticed you mentioned a lot about erotica and dealing with the woman and the desires of the areas of sex and, eroticizing, which is great. And we'll get to that in a minute to find out why have you been steering yourself that way, because, again, when we are going through things, I realized that our pain produced our purpose. What we've been through, we put on paper because God has a purpose for you to go through no matter what it is. And you decided to put it down. Like you said, you were away for a minute, and you just started writing. You started bringing yourself out. And there could be people listening right now that may not have gone through what you've been through, but realize that, hey, if he can do it, I can do it. but you had time to really get it out there, and then God could put you in a position like that to force you to really release what you need to release because it's something He released and manifest on earth. So I applaud you for finding your passion and going forth with it, not looking back, no matter what your past may be, no matter the adversities and things you faced, but you made it through. So my next question to you is, what was the process like? When I say process, because of all you've been through, what was the process like for you? Was it painful? Was it sweet? Was it sensual? How did you feel when you were going through the process of writing these books?
It's like basketball players or athletes or actors when they zone in for a role or what have you, or for a game. It's like that. Once I have a theme, a title, like with this series I put together, this Have a Thing for You series, I had an objective with writing this series, and it was to convey, it's my real life. So it's to convey me meeting this woman, me becoming enamored with this woman, and subsequently falling in love, growing to love this woman, losing this woman, and then doing what I needed to do to get this woman back. So it was just a zone that I get into. You take everything that you feel and you put it out on paper. As a poet, one of the things we have an advantage over for individuals that write other type of genres, is that a poem can be everything. It can be angry, it can be lustful, it can be happy, it can be all these things. So I just put these things down. I just channel. So it's not so much once I get in front of the computer, it's on. Or I've been writing all along on my phone or what have you on Facebook, and then I take the poems and I delete them off Facebook and they go into the book, so nobody can say, oh, I saw that. Well, you may have saw it, but it's not there anymore. But it's just a zone that I go into.
Okay. All right, great. So what was so rewarding about you writing these books? Because I know I'm an author myself, but being an author, because you've gotten so deep and so passionate about what you've done, because you've been going like a fireball from that point on. What is the rewarding side of it, insofar as you being an author?
Completion. For me, it's the completion. Completing a book, there's no feeling like it. To complete it and then upload it to Amazon or what have you, there's nothing like that. To know that you sat, especially when I wrote my novel, The Warmest Winter, that was because it's like 400 pages long, and to sit there and know I did that for the first time was just really like, wow, I did that, because I never thought I could. Same way with writing sensually, erotic, because I'm not a fan of erotic poetry, to be quite honest. Not in its form, in its contemporary form with certain language. Anybody who knows me knows, and this is a slight deviation, but I don't use certain language in my poems. I don't use it because I'm talented enough and my vocabulary is wide enough, and I just believe poetry is a gentleman's language. So if I'm speaking to a lady, or a lady sees it or hears it, I want to speak in a manner whereas I arouse her without offending her. But and to further answer your question, it's nothing like finishing. It's nothing like finishing.
I know the feeling.
It's the best.
When you put that last period, that last sentence,
yes,
and then start doing the autocorrection and whatnot, and then getting it to print, it's like having a baby.
Yes.
It's like I just had another child, and I'm proud of what I've created.
Yes.
So I definitely understand that part right now.
That's right on.
I know most people that are online, that are listening right now to you, they may have felt this at one point. I felt this at one point. So was there ever a time you felt like, just like I'm done, I'm finished, I'm giving up, I'm not doing this anymore? Have you ever felt like that at any given time? Not
with being an author. One of the things I realized about being an author, I'm going to break this down. An African-American author of poetry is that I know the way people work, you got to have your audience. I always understood what it was. I went to, and I'm proud to say this, and this may sound like bragging, but I'm proud to say this. I've gone to book fairs before I had a novel, before I had a children's book. I had books of poetry, and I heard people constantly tell me, people who look like me with the same melanin, say, oh, man, I really don't read poetry. I sold them books because based on who I am, I would perform a poem or I'm a salesman, so I'm charming for what I've been told. So I use that to let people know, hey, listen, you need to open up your mind to this. I know you read fiction. I know you read this, but you need to open up this. This is some different poetry. This isn't like what you heard. This isn't like what you read. This is written in a way where you feel like you're in the poem. So as far as poetry, I didn't feel like acting, though, what I'm doing now. I felt for a little while like, maybe I'm not. Maybe this isn't me. Maybe I waited too late in my life or whatever, and I changed my thinking because that's stinking thinking. There is no too late. There is none of that. There is just right now. Are you doing it now? Right now. I got asked, I'm sorry, I'm about to go on one of those things that I'm known for, but I got asked, what made you start acting? I said, well, the opportunity came, and I got asked to be in a couple of movies, so I went and did it, and I started from there and kept on moving. And so then the lady said, and I respect the lady, so I didn't have a problem with her question. She said, well, why now? And I said, well, why not now? Why not now? Really, you got to ask yourself, you got to ask in your everyday life, why not now? If you want to go to Rome, then to get your money together and find the plans and to make sure your passport is up to date and go to Rome. It's real simple. Most things are real simple if you set your mind to them. So no, that was the only thing I felt like maybe I couldn't. But then that changed. My thinking changed. Like I'm about to do this. And I got more roles, and I got an agent, and I've been booking more roles, and it's going to get bigger and better as we go along. You have to. You have to. Now, listen, this isn't just about being an author or writing a book. This isn't about this statement. Quote me on this. You have to look at the person in the mirror and say, you are awesome. You are magnificent. You are talented. God did not make any errors in the creation I'm looking at. Go get it. And that's basically what I embody. So, no, I don't think about anything like that anymore. I believe I can do everything, and everything that I do at a high level of excellence.
And I think that's wonderful because you're now pushing them like your friend pushed you because you believe in this, and now that it flourishes, that it manifests for you, you're to the place where I need to encourage somebody else. Make no excuses. And we know people come up with excuses, but by someone having you in their face, it'll make a difference, and I don't believe in giving up. I don't know what that means.
No.
I don't understand that. And I listened to Eric Thomas one day. Do you know who Eric Thomas is?
I've heard the name.
He's a motivational speaker. And a young lady got up and asked him a question. I forgot. I believe it was on Steve Harvey or some show. But she asked him, she says, she said to him, I procrastinate a lot. And I want to know, what can I do to not procrastinate, or how do I get help? And he said, I don't believe in procrastination. He says, I'm going to put it like this to you. The reason why you don't do it is because it's not a priority in your mind. If it's not a priority in your mind, you're not going to do it. If it is a priority, you're going to get it done. There's no such thing as procrastination. It's based on what is more of a priority over the others. So you're making it your priority for your books and everything that you're doing to be out there. So you're teaching people, if it's important, do it. And teaching them no fear. You can't walk in fear. God didn't give us fear. He gave us power, love, and a sound mind. So we have to walk with no fear, knowing that if it's something he's placed inside of you, then that's something you need to complete because he wants it done on this earth. So I appreciate that because I'm not a quitter. I don't even know what it means.
No.
So just to move forward, we know that the beautiful thing is we write these books. We get all of our words on those pages, that black and white is looking good. It's making us excited. It's giving us different feelings and emotions. But the beautiful thing is this. How do you, as an author, manage to handle the business side of things? Because we know that's where it comes. I need to make money off of my stories. I need to be able to recoup and get money. So how do you handle the business side?
Great question. I always tell people, I've always tried to give some insight. So from the very onset of a concept, like this Have a Thing for You series, it becomes a part of my everyday. It becomes the keywords, the hashtags, it becomes so much ingrained in everything I do that the people that support me, it becomes a part of their everyday as well. They take on the catchphrase. Like, you'll look back at any of my statuses and you'll see have a thing for you, still have a thing for you, no longer have a thing for you. You'll see these things because I've done them over and over again. At the onset of a book, the idea of a book, I start promoting. The same way there are movies. Shouts out to Danielle Leach. What's up? She's dope. Just had to shout her out. Been rocking with her for a while now. She's dope. I had to say that. I do them like movies. A movie comes out. Take a movie like Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. I'm a comic book nerd. Geek. The movie came out last year, but it was promoted over a year. You kept hearing about it. It built the anticipation up. Why not do that for your book? Why not keep talking about your book? Not necessarily dropping links in a thing. I mean, it's each to his own, but why not keep talking about your book? Why not bring it up in conversations? If you're on social network, the easiest and the least expensive way to promote anything, why not make that a constant rotation on your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram, your YouTube? Why not have that in? Why not have that in there? And so people have no choice but around it. I've been saying for the last several months, A Cruel Summer. It's my next novel. It's to follow up to A Woman's Winter. I dropped that on the status. People were like, oh, yeah. I was on an interview, and I said, hey, A Cruel Summer. They said, finally, because I've been talking about it, because I went on and done interviews about it and built it up, got the cover, dropped the cover. Book wasn't even finished yet, but I had the cover. Dropped the cover out, like, take a look. Shout out to Drea Delgado. She did the cover for that. So you just have to treat it like a business. And then also, what a lot of authors don't do, you're not out here. Yesterday I was at Printers Row. Next week I'm a featured author in Milwaukee. A couple of weeks after that I'll be in Indianapolis. Another month down the line, where I'll be? I think I'm in Atlanta. No, not Atlanta. But then I'm back here. Then I'm in Kentucky. Then I'm somewhere else in Chicago again. As an author, especially as an independent author, you got to get out here with people. People love movement. Wait, here's a better one. Quote me. God rewards effort.
Yes.
God rewards effort. You can pray all day. I pray all the time. I pray constantly for forgiveness, for thanks, for mercy. I pray all the time. But effort. The reason I can book roles is because I'm going out here auditioning. The reason I can sell books is because people say, hey, dude is out here. He's writing constantly. He's among us. He's out at these different fairs. So you got to do that. That's the only way a business works. I mean, and then when you see authors who are acclaimed and best-selling and such out there, you got to be out there with them. You got to network with them. You meet them and what have you, and show up at events they're at. So that's how I do it. And I've been very fortunate to, like I told you earlier, Stephen. Before I had a novel or a children's book, I wrote exclusively poetry books, and I was still at events and I was selling books. Why? Because I believe this product I had in my hand, which is my art, this product I had in my hand was just dope, and you have to have it. Especially ladies. Ladies, they have to have it. Oh, my goodness. Speaking of ladies, let me tell you, an awesome lady who I don't even know what to say. Double T, one of the super reviewers and just an awesome lady who I can't wait to meet. Tiffany Tyler. Just shout out, hey, Double T. Just an awesome lady. Just you got to treat it like a business. And if you're going to treat it like a business, you have to operate at a high level of business. You have to do things,
exactly.
You have to do things that a successful business does.
Exactly. It's your product. It's a brand, and you have to find the niche. You have to read and find other people that you have to mimic or imitate. Not saying you have to be them. Say, well, how did you do it? How did you make it happen? Like you said, God gives it to you. But the Bible says faith without works is dead. You got to put action in what you believe. If he sees that you're going to these interviews and these auditions and you're putting your books out there and you're connecting with the right people, it's already set up for you. But how he can't walk you through the door, he can't carry you. You have to go on your own. So he wants to see, okay, you believing in me, and that's what's blessing you. You're coupling your faith with your gifts and the book that you're putting out, and when you're going for the auditions for the different shows. That's why things will continue to work out for you. And I know people have their different beliefs on what they believe and what they don't believe, but this works for you, and you're saying God's doing this because you're putting your action. So those that are out there may say, hey, you know what, let me try this God thing, because this man is going places. And you can be an influence to them to introduce them to God while they're learning and reading your books, as well as watching you climb the ladder of success. So I applaud you for that on many levels. I really do.
Hey, Barbara, I have to shout out somebody. I got a great, one of the things I'm really fortunate, I've got a great crux of supporters. They come in, they'll buy books, they review books, and so on and so forth. Oh, no, I didn't know the books show up backwards. Sorry, Double P. They're saying my books show up backwards. I don't know what the, okay, but look, real quick, this is Have a Thing for You. This is Still Have a Thing for You. This is when it got bad. It's the worst 48 hours of my life. No Longer Have a Thing for You. And then next week, as you see on my cover photo, Always Have a Thing for You, and that finishes the series. What I did, Stephen, real quick, I wrote a series, Have a Thing for You series. And it was about meeting this woman, this amazing woman who I took a liking to. And I wrote a book, Have a Thing for You. I told her I have a thing for you, and she didn't believe me, because you hear the ladies, women hear that stuff all the time from dudes. They do. They do. And so I had to convince her. I went upon the task of courting her, which led to Still Have a Thing for You. And now she's got a thing for me, and we're in this mutual exclusive thing, and it's working, it's clicking, it's got this energy.
Okay.
And then we get to book 3. And sometimes, even when you're clicking, sometimes somebody wants to come in and throw shade or knock down your castle or what have you. So that's what No Longer Have a Thing is. No Longer Have a Thing for You is about. It's about that time. It was 48 hours when we weren't on the same page. It was just horrible. It was rotten. That's the best way I can describe it without any further emotion attached to it.
Right.
Which led
so
to
you're basically telling your life as it happens, or as it has already happened.
Yes.
You put your whole life out there.
Lastly, it was it's Always Have a Thing for You. You know, it's the task of getting her back and showing her that I'm this guy, and you know it's a love story written in poetic verse, autobiographical.
Mm-hmm. Now, since you're so well versed, and it seems like the words just flow like fluid, do you edit your own books, or do you have someone to edit your books?
Okay, that's a great question too. Now, listen, any authors out there, or any new authors or going to be authors, listen to what I'm about to tell you right now. I'm going to take my glasses off so it makes sense. Listen very closely and quote me. As an author, you do not edit your own book. You do not do it. You don't do it. Do not do it. Here's why. Give you a few reasons. Number one, as an author, right, and looking at your own work, you're looking at it with a blind eye. Meaning, anybody that does anything, they believe they're doing it the best. Anybody that does anything, they believe they're doing it the best. So you're looking at it for things that maybe need tightening up. Your mind has already told you, there's nothing wrong with this. This is fine. We don't need to do anything to this. It's good. So you're going to walk through and miss some things. You might catch a comma, You might catch a comma or the wrong conjugation of a verb, whatever, sure. But you need another set of eyes. You need another set of eyes.
Of course you do.
Than what you already are looking at, because you're looking at it subjectively. You aren't objective. No matter how objective you think you are, you aren't. Number two, with a novel. Now, with the poetry books, I'm kind of fortunate. I have a couple of readers to read through, and they ask me questions like, well, what does this mean? Or can I have a different style than most? But with a novel, it's even more necessary, and I got this from Neilani Kai, shout out to her. There are different types of editors. Now, I may miss something, but there are different types. Number one, of course, there's the grammatical the grammatical editor, and that's, of course, your commas, your periods, your conjugation of verbs, words that go in the right place, so on and so forth. Then there's also the logical editor. Now, once again, people, the names I may be using may not be the actual names, but the context is what makes sense. You need somebody to be able to read your novel or what have you, and it makes sense. Something, you may have a chapter that doesn't make sense in the book, or you may have a passage, well, what does this mean? Character development and a particular character may be lacking or whatever. That editor goes through and looks exactly for that right there. They look for that. Hold on 1 second. I may lose y'all on the live. I may lose y'all because I got a low battery, so if I do, I apologize. But, or maybe not. Wait, stay with me. Stay with me. Technical difficulties and such.
Yeah, we need you to stay with us, too. We don't want to lose you.
No, I got y'all. Y'all on my other phone, but I'm talking about my live feed. I got my live feed.
Oh, okay.
But and so you've got editors like that, and like I said, there's a couple more type that you need to bear with me.
Yeah. So while we're waiting for James to come back,
I'm back.
don't forget.
I got y'all. Sorry about that.
He's back. Okay.
Oh, but and there are different types. Nailani Kai had put that down, and she said, if you get an editor, they can't tell you what type of editor they are. They're the wrong type of editor. So you need to invest. A couple things you need to invest in. Okay, is that it? Oh no, come on. A couple things you need to invest in. You need to invest in an editor, and you need to invest in your cover.
Okay.
Just a couple of hints. But to answer your question, sorry, when I get to talk about things and I got hints, stuff that I've learned from people, I like to pass it along because it's helpful. So, forgive me, Stephen, I go on these rants a little bit sometimes.
It's okay. It's okay. We just want to make sure that we're staying in the time frame for you and making sure that everybody gets full, valuable information from you. Because, like I say, knowledge is wealth. So you're spreading that knowledge. So we just want to make sure we're staying in the time and make sure you're giving out enough information.
How much time we got?
I want to say about 10, 15 minutes, and I have a few more questions I want to continue so that the people can really get this knowledge that you're releasing out of your brain.
Sure.
Well, you've already jumped into my next question, which is, who does the cover arts for your books? And who does the cover arts for your books?
Now, okay, stop that. Now, cover art is done by Angel Walker. I bounced around. It's a funny thing about being an indie author, and then you work with your budget or whatever the case may be. I bounced around the first few books and what have you. Like I tell people all the time about the author house labels. I went through my very first book was done by what's the name of these jokers? iUniverse. Oh my God! If you're a new author, and you coming in, avoid the subsidy publishing. Do your research. The easiest way to publish your book without costing you any money except for your editor, your cover, is go through Amazon in the creative space. You can buy your ISBN numbers like 10 at a time through Bowker, Bowker, or you can go through Creative Space and let them do it or whatever. But I went through iUniverse, and it was just like, ugh. It was just ugh.
So that's how you ended up going. So that's how you ended up getting to this wonderful young lady that created your covers for you, because you learned through trial and error.
Yeah, but Angel Walker does the last 4 covers for the. She started with the Have a Thing for You series. And she did those, and these are some magnificent covers. They caught a lot of attention and helped me sell a lot of books yesterday at Printers Row here in Chicago. So I said to her at the 3rd book, I said, listen, I wanted you to do my covers all the time now. You're the person for the covers. Shout out to Angel Walker. She's dope. She does a lot of different things. She's going to do my covers now. And they're brilliant, vibrant covers, because you need that. So the first thing somebody sees is your cover. Second thing is your title, which is your cover, and it's like, whoa, what is that? Let me take a look at that. You know, I want to grab that. This is bright purple cover. What's that all about? And they come close. Part of the battle is over with because you've broken the gap. Now they look at the title. What's this about? And then you go into your pitch. Your 30 seconds. Bang.
Okay.
Elevator pitch.
Okay. Okay, great. Well, shout out to Angel Walker. I'm sure once they get in touch with you, if they can't locate her when they speak to you, you could definitely direct anyone that needs help with a book cover. Definitely. So one of the questions I want to ask you is, and I've encountered this, and I'm sure other authors have encountered this, writer's block. Have you ever encountered it?
No.
And you have. Oh, no? Okay. Well, you just answered all my questions.
No.
But my thing is, so what made it where you didn't, like, what was there? Was there a technique, or was there some type of way that you help yourself to not encounter writer's block? Just give us a brief on that, because I want to make sure I ask you a few more questions.
Sure. Writer's block is a mental thing. So you may not have anything to write at that moment, and you're trying to force it. So once you realize, hey, you know what, today is not the day for me to write a poem. Even though I write every day, I write a few lines or whatever. Today may not be a day for me to write a poem. Today may not be a day for me to go outside as hot as all get out. I'm not meaning hot weather because I'm born in December. We don't really cooperate that well. So it's not the day for me to go out in the weather until a little later on. Writer's block, again, not to be redundant. Sorry about that, that's ESPN. Not to be redundant, but it's all in your head. So, and I think writer's block is one of those misery loves company things. So people can say, "Oh my God, I went through that too," or no, it's not. It's not really a thing. You just weren't supposed to write at that moment. I don't think you're supposed to write at that moment. You tell yourself certain things, and then if it's coming from your own mind, you believe them. So if you say, "I've got writer's block," then you can't write because why? You told yourself you got writer's block. I don't tell myself that. The great Nikki Giovanni said to me in an interview, and I quote, she said, "Some days I just don't feel like writing. It's not that I'm blocked. I just don't feel like writing." She said, "I'd rather drink a beer. I'd rather go to a movie."
Exactly.
I don't want to write that day. I'm not blocked. Unquote.
Because it's never going to turn off. I mean, it's inside of you. It's just you had your good days and your bad days. I don't feel like it. So I totally understand. Trust me. Okay. So, I mean, you've already talked about this before, you know, as far as how often you write, which it seems like you write literally a lot, and you're spontaneous with it because your passion comes through. So, how often do you write? For those that went on earlier, just tell them how often do you write your poems and whatnot.
I write several times a day, every day. But my situation is different because, one, I have a lot to say, and two, everything's a poem. Everything's a poem. I could walk outside right now, Scooter the Beagle's outside, sitting in the grass. That's a poem. It's cooling off here in my city, the greatest city in the world. The breeze is going against the trees now. The trees are dancing because the music is provided to them by the wind. That's a poem. Everything's a poem. I appreciate life. I appreciate being alive. I appreciate nature. So I can write about that, even if it's a few lines. I met a wonderful woman. I can write about that. There's always things to write about, so I do. It's my way of expression. So
your inspiration is everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
And people in the arts, because they consider us to be a little odd, a little unique, a little weird, because you're in tune with nature. You're in tune with your surroundings. Because God created everything with a word, and look at the world. Look how beautiful it is. So it's like He's poured Himself in us to be the continual writers and artists and musicians and painters to continue His work. That's just what I believe personally. It could be a different thing with you, but I believe that personally.
I got an instrument, and I have what I believe is a gift and a talent. So I have to utilize it. I'm supposed to utilize it. I record poems. And I want to go on record and say this. As much as I appreciate the business side of being an author, there are people who tell you I record less than minute poems that I share in the inboxes, or I share poems, or I make videos or whatever. And there's no money attached to that, but just because I love to create. And I love to react to people who are happy to receive poems from me, or who smile, or who laugh, or arouse to hear poems from me. So I do it for that, and that further, and I lost the word or what have you. Oh, that further fertilizes the gift. It takes farther. You know,
okay.
Just to do it.
Okay. Okay. Great. Well, listen, James. We have a few more minutes. We only have about maybe 7 or 8 minutes. So, tell me real quick. I want to get to all the questions are important, but tell me real quick. Tell us about your last book signing that you had. How did it go?
Yesterday at Printers Row, I was there for 2 hours, and I was shout out to Chicago Writers Association and Randy Richardson for having me there. I was there for 2 hours. It was broken up in different hours, and I took 2, and I sold like 14 books, and I got it in as soon as I set up. As soon as I got there and put my book stands up, and somebody came over and asked me about my novel, The Warmest Winter, I immediately went into my 30-second elevator pitch. Bang, bang. I was, oh, yeah, we'll get that. Boom. We got that off. And we got the book off. And then it was just between that and Bobo, I lost people. Those of you who are listening on live, I lost you. My phone has just really been acting funny, so I think it's time to upgrade. But thank you for tuning in. But, it went really well. You know, I'm not so much a book signing dude where I set up and there's a thing. I've done a couple, and they've been pretty successful. But I'm more of I'm going to sell a book a day. I'm going to peddle my books every day. I'm going to take them with me when I go Storytell, or I go on a set somewhere, and I'm going to sell a book there, or I'm going to go to an event like yesterday at Printers Row, or next week at the Great Midwest Book Fest, and I'm going to do really well. You know, so, yeah, I did really well. That's your question. Did really well.
Okay. So we only have a few more minutes. I just want you to give me, like I said, just a briefing of these. What is it like living in Chicago?
Love my city. Greatest city in the world.
Love your city, yes. It is beautiful. I lived there, and it was very short because it was too cold, and I'm a Florida boy, so I couldn't take that winter. So, to you, what makes a good woman? Give me 5 things. You don't have to go deep into it. Give me 5 things that make a good woman.
Intelligence, humor, positivity, ambitious, and beautiful.
Okay, good. Y'all listening, ladies? This is a good guy on this line right here. Y'all better snatch him up before it's too late. So, who's your biggest inspiration in all that you're doing? I know you talked about your friend who passed on. But if it's that person, then go ahead. But who's your biggest inspiration?
Biggest inspiration is for these poems that I write is my sugar. She's an amazing woman, and I'm fortunate. I'm really fortunate to be able to coexist with her in this life. Outside of her, as far as like the romantic poems and stuff, just to be the best and exercise this gift and everything I do to the best of my ability. Just so my family, who believes in me without fail, they stay with me all the time. They rock with me. They've been rocking with me. So my family and these supporters that show me love all the time. But my family, they really inspire me to do, because when I wasn't that good, and there was a time in our lives, everybody that went to a period, you weren't that good. I can honestly say I wasn't that good of a dude or what have you, and they were rocking with me. So I have no choice but to owe them. So
yeah, shout out to family that stick by you no matter what.
Yep.
You're thick and thin, good and bad. It's nothing like them still being there, and now they can see where you're at. And wow, we never would have thought, but we knew that you were going to be something great. So they're still believing in you regardless. That's a wonderful thing.
Yep.
So I'm just going to run 2 questions into one. As a man of color, what inspires you the most? And also, how you did talk about your past where you were in the federal prison. Do you regret that? And then if you do or don't, how did you get through it? Because your poetry was life to you.
I'll take it the second one first. If I don't spend those 10 months in a camp, there's no GPA. We aren't having this conversation right now. There aren't any 15 books. There's nothing. I don't become this guy without those 10 months. I don't become this guy. I needed that. That needed to happen. As twisted as it may sound to somebody or whatever, and not that I would really care, but because I wouldn't, but that was, I believe, honestly, God said, you know what, I need you to take this time out. Take this time out because there's something else for you to do. What you're doing or what you think you're doing, working a job or whatever the case may be, no diss to anybody working, that's not what that is, but I was working a job, making a decent wage and what have you and whatever, but this other side of that, the other side of that bridge, I'm to become something more special, more impactful, living my purpose. So that doesn't happen without going through that.
Okay, yeah. Like I said, sometimes the darkest places bring out the brightest of you. Like they said, a seed can't grow if it's not buried. So God had to sit you down to really pull out the best in you, who you really are, what he created you, and the plans he had for your life. That's why he allowed, because he could have stopped you from going there, but he allowed you to be in that situation to really bring out what's inside of you to help people like that are dealing with situations or may need to see your writings today. So it makes a difference, trust me. There's a timing for everything.
Yeah.
And the time that time was that time for him to do what he needed to do. So big ups to the Almighty. So you said you're in a relationship now with a young lady, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So tell the listeners how it is that you guys met. Yes. Give me a brief one. I know it's a long one, but, I know you can condense it for us.
I think I really believe it was divine intervention. Because
okay.
I was lost. I was focused on my career and doing those things, but my heart was lost. And I really believe that God said, you know what, I think it's time for you to experience this. And so I met her, and she was seeing somebody. And so, it was a while ago. So I kind of, of course, you respectfully, you're like, oh, okay, cool. And you just, you interact and what have you. And then she wasn't seeing anybody anymore. And I said, okay. And so I just went and I asked her out. I said, we should go out. And then it's been epic ever since. So.
Is she on the line right now listening to you?
She might be. She might be.
Is there anything you want the listeners that you want to say to her while the listeners are listening? Because they're being nosy right now.
Listen, love, listen. You have to understand. I am grandiose and flashy by nature. It is part of the aura of this melanin peacock that I must do so. But I find my humility. I find my humility when I bow in prostration in prayer, when I speak to my parents, when I'm walking next to you. I realize in each of those situations what my station is. I realize more that as much greatness as I am able to siphon and enhance myself by being with you, I realize how much of an honor and a blessing it is to hold your hand and walk. You are everything to me. You are everything to me. I won't say anything. I won't lie and say that I'm not anything, because in order for you to be everything, I have to be something. And then because you're everything, I get something from you. You give me anything, and it is everything to me. You give me anything, it's everything to me. You speak to me, you say my name, you lay your hands on me, it's everything to me. And I am nothing but love. I have nothing but love.
Wow. Okay, see, now y'all know what? I'm from the country, y'all. I might have to end up paying you money to write me some poetry like that, because I felt that deep down in my soul. I think I got a couple of tears in the corner of my eyes. But did you just say a word? Did you say melanin peacock?
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah.
That right there should be a book, a product, or something. Melanin peacock. Located at your nearest store, that sounds like something that needs to be on the shelf right now. So you might want to go to God and help you to expound on that right there. Wow, my goodness. All right, ladies and gentlemen, y'all better get on it right here. Mr. James Gordon is laying it down. So my last question, because we only have a few minutes, what advice would you give our listeners?
As far as?
Just the best advice you can possibly give them on, just really trying to get themselves out there, being fearless. What do you feel on your heart is the best advice you can give our listeners? Because they're mostly probably potential writers, up-and-coming writers, or writers that probably just quit and say, let me jump on this line, get some inspiration.
Everything worth getting, achieving, is a risk. Everything is a risk. So look out the window, look out the door first. Make sure it's as close to safe as you feel comfortable with, because nothing ever really is, and go. If you are writing a book and you say, oh, I want to, write the book. Don't worry about editing until it's done. Write the book. If you want to perform, if you want to act, if you want to do comedy, heck, nothing says failure other than saying, I wish I would have. There is no failure in trying and falling down or bumping your head. There's no failure in that. Listen, I'm telling you, I blew a few auditions, and I walked away from auditions like, darn, man, I thought I had it. Just the other day, I thought I had it. But you got to go. That's the only way you know you got to go. You just got to go, and don't worry about no. Just go. If it's something you want to do, just go. That's it. Just go. Just
okay.
Go. That's
just
it.
Go. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it right here on Obawa Radio. This is your host, Stephen Smith. Again, I want to thank you, Mr. James Gordon, the greatest poet alive right here. You can catch him on Empire, Chicago Fire, Justice, Shameless, and several other movies and commercials. You can get in touch with him on iblowyourmind.net and on Twitter at the greatest poet alive. That's GR8EST Poet Alive. I thank you again, Mr. Gordon. Don't hang up. We appreciate you. I give shout out to the Almighty God, and I thank you guys. Don't forget, I'm reminding you guys, listeners, listen. I need you guys to tune in. Next week's show is just going to be even more amazing. You think Mr. Gordon brought it. Man, you just got to look forward to the next one. Same time, same place. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You guys have a great evening, and God bless you all.
Take care, everybody. Peace.
All right.